Hey guys, welcome to the Creative Makes Studio. My name is Mel and I'm the owner and operator here at the studio. Creative Makes Studio is a family-friendly studio located in Hastings on the Mornington Peninsula, and we run classes for children ages 2 right up to adults. So normally at this time of year we would be running some school holiday programs. Unfortunately, that's not the case at this point in time. So this is why I'm doing this quick video for you to be able to have some creative fun at home. Generally at the Creative Makes Studio, we concentrate on doing process-based art. So process-based art is art that concentrates on the process of what you're doing rather than the outcome. So today's process activity is called shaving cream paper marbling, and you'll get some beautiful pieces of paper just like this, using items that you have already around your home or that you can find at the supermarket. So for this activity, you're going to need some food dye. I've got the 3 primary colours here. If you only have a couple of colours, that's fine. It still does work. It's just fun to talk about making new colours if you can use the primary colours. You'll need 3 jars or cups. I prefer to use glass so that we can see what colour's inside of them, but you can just use normal cups. You'll need 3 spoons. This is to get the mix out once you have actually made it and then be able to scoop it and put it into your shaving cream. You'll need shaving foam. So this is just the really cheap one from Coles. You can get a similar sort of product from Woolworths as well. I have only used sort of half a can today, but if you want to get a couple of cans, I can guarantee this is probably something your kids are going to want to do again. You'll need a skewer. So if you don't have skewers, you can just use the end of, a spoon or a fork or whatever. If you don't have a skewer, this is for the marbling. So this is something, so that's why it needs to have a fairly thin end so that we can use it to move through the foam to do the marbling. You'll need some sort of scraper. I have paint scrapers, but if you don't have paint scrapers, you can use anything that has a similar sort of edge to it. So something that's hard, that has an edge, that you can scrape along your paper to get the shaving cream off once you've printed it. You'll need some water. You'll need a tray. So the tray needs to at least fit an A4 piece of paper in. I have special plastic trays here in the studio, but you can just use baking trays, that's fine. As long as it has a bit of an edge so that it's going to contain the foam to a certain extent. And you'll need some A4 paper. Now you can just use your normal copy paper that you buy from Kmart or any other place, or I think you can get it from the supermarket as well. I use slightly thicker paper, so if you have got something that's slightly thicker, it is a little bit easier just because it doesn't get as soft. This is 110 GSM, so it's a little bit thicker than your standard 80 GSM that you'll get from Kmart or whatever, but you can use the 80 GSM. You'll need a towel to wipe hands and clean up any messes that might occur, and a spare bucket or tray to scrape out any excess shaving cream while you're doing the activity. So what I would recommend is that you watch the entire video before you get started, just so you have an idea of what the process actually looks like and you can prepare your space properly. I also recommend putting some sort of covering on your table, especially if you're doing it inside. Shaving foam is it's essentially soap, so it does wash out fairly well, but food colouring not so much. So I'd probably do it outside if you can, but if you can't, then some sort of table covering is recommended. So gather all your supplies and continue watching the video so you've got an idea of the process, and I can't wait to see all the beautiful paper you make. All right guys, so the first thing I will say is that make sure your space is prepared. So I have everything that I'm going to use already here, including my towel and everything in case we have a spillage. So the first thing you need to do, which I've already done, but I'm going to add some more, is put some shaving foam into your tray. Now I've got a plastic tray here, but you can use a just a cookie tray, that's fine. Or even something like this is a kitty litter tray, if you've got an old something like this. As long as it fits an A4 piece of paper in, you're good to use it. So we just need a layer of shaving foam. This is not about filling the tray with shaving foam. You don't need heaps and heaps, just a good layer on the bottom. I normally go back and forth, just crisscrossing, and then we smooth it out with whatever scraper object that you found. So as you can see, I use a paint scraper, but you can use like a cake scraper, whatever you've got that's flat, that you can sort of make a flat surface with, because we'll also be using this to scrape off the shaving cream afterwards. So now that my tray is prepared, I'll move on to the dyes. So these food colourings are from Coles. They're about $1.10 each. The shaving foam's from Coles as well. That's $2.30. So I believe you can get both of them at Woolies as well if you haven't got a Coles near you. The blue and the red, you use about a teaspoon to 200 ml of water. It seems like a lot, but if you have stronger colour in here, you'll end up with stronger colour on your end result. The yellow, you need to use a little bit more because it's a weaker colour. So I used about 2 teaspoons of that to 200 ml of water. I'm using spoons to get the dye out of the jars. If you have pipettes, they're actually more ideal. But for the sake of you guys being able to do this at home right now, I've used spoons. You can also use a big paintbrush if you've got a big paintbrush and sort of drip it all over, but you'll need a paintbrush for each jar so that you don't mix the colours in the jar. So we just get a spoonful of the dye. We're just going to sort of drip it all over. Now I will say, if you're doing this with young children, you will need to monitor this particular part especially, because if they put too much dye, if they tip the whole jar for instance, which does happen, the shaving cream is just going to melt. So they're not going to be able to actually do the marbling part. So I would recommend showing them first so that they can see what the point of this is. Once they've done a few pieces of paper, by all means just let them turn it into an alchemy experiment and make potions or whatever else they want to do. But generally, if a child can see what the point of this is, they will actually do it at least a few times before they go to town. So now we use our skewer to make the marbling. So you can just print this if you want to. And if you do this a few times, you can try both. But I'm going to marble this just so you can see. So it's just a matter of running the end of your skewer. So I've got a wooden skewer. You can use a pop stick. You can use the end of a spoon. You can use a metal skewer. Whatever you've got that's going to do a similar thing. Just nothing too thick. I wouldn't use something like this end of the spoon because it's too thick and it's not going to give the same effect. So just running your skewer through in all different directions. I'm just doing sort of a crisscross. You can do swirls, whatever you like. Wipe your skewer on your towel. And then we get our paper. So I'm using A4 because that's what fits in my tray. If you have something bigger, you might be able to use A3, but this is just A4 paper. And we're just going to gently push it in. So make sure all the corners are in, because otherwise you'll end up in with white spots. Gently push it in, and then we'll lift it. And this is what it looks like when you lift it out. So you can see there's a rainbow left in the tray, and at the moment, it's all rainbowy on the paper. So I'll do a close-up of the next part as well, but I'm going to just scrape off the shaving cream from here, and that will leave us with our end result. just going from one side to the other. I'm scraping all the way along. Getting as much of it off as you can. And this is what you're left with. So you've got a beautiful marbled piece of paper. If you use thicker card, this is really great to cut out and use for other things. But it's beautiful just on its own. I've done really huge ones and made wrapping paper and things out of it as well. So this is what we end up with. You can then just put more dye on top of that and print it straight away again. You don't have to relayer it every single time. When your tray gets to the point where it starts turning, it's like a browny green generally, it starts turning a weird colour, then scrape it out. So this is where your spare bucket comes in. Scrape it all out into your spare bucket and leave that out of the way and then refill. So some great discussions to have with your kids while you're doing this one is what new colours can you see, what new colours can you make, what does blue and yellow make, what does yellow and red make, and so on and so forth, and see if as your tray gets built up you can find those colours within your tray. So you can use these papers for collage, you can use them for cards, you can use them for all sorts of things. So I hope you have enjoyed, or you do enjoy doing this with your kids, and for any other ideas head over to our Facebook page, Mel's Creative Makes, and say hello. Thanks guys, bye.